I'm excited to talk with you about this hot topic today. There's so much I could say about this, and I will keep this session relatively brief. I'm going to be doing a longer session on this in my Activate Your Money Flow course tomorrow, but I just wanted to come in here because I think everybody can benefit from some of these key what I'm calling business boundaries. Some of what I'm going to share with you may not have occurred to you as a business boundary. So hello to who is with me. Hi, Leslie. Yay, 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 yay. Great. Good to see you. Glad you could get in. So some of what I'm going to share with you may not, again, as I said, occur to you as a business boundary. I'm going to start with a real slippery one that has come up in a few conversations recently that I've been engaged in. And that is this issue when we have our own business and we're in a position to be creating content, our own content frequently, right? It's a very creative journey being an entrepreneur. We're always creating a new offer, a new package. We're always developing maybe even some new expertise that we can bring to our client community. So one of the big issues that comes up around this is, and we're also exposed to a tremendous amount of content. If we are a lifelong learner, which I think we need to be as an entrepreneur, we're always learning, right? We're always being exposed to other people's content. And so the question then arises when something really speaks to us, where is that boundary around when it becomes stealing from somebody else and when it is not stealing, right? And this can be a real slippery slope. So I have my own opinions and feelings about this. I'm going to share them with you today as key number one. And so my feeling about this, I'm an artist also. I do some painting and some collage and other stuff. And so hi to who's ever with me. I see there are several people here. Say hello if you would. I'd love to know who's here. Having a bit of an allergy day today, so excuse any strange sounds that come out of me while I'm talking to you. And certainly post questions. Let me know how what I'm sharing lands for you as we move through this. So, I'm an artist, as I said, and so the same issue comes up when it comes to art, right? Like you see something that's beautiful, that inspires you, that really speaks to you. Where is that boundary again between, where you're taking something from someone else and calling it your own? Hi, Mimi. So glad you're here. And where's the boundary between that and when you're really just, using something you've been exposed to as inspiration to tap into your own wisdom? Hi, Birdie. To tap into your own wisdom and really, inspire your own creativity, inspire your own genius, your own brilliance. So this is how I approach the subject. I think that self-doubt fuels a lot of things that are not productive, right? And that really don't help us create the success that we're trying to create. When we have a lack of self-confidence or self-doubt, we will always think that somebody else's work is better than anything that we could ever create on our own. It's just a default. It's like that comparison thing, which is just super toxic. And so if we're living in that mindset and that belief pattern that everybody else's work is greater than ours and will always be, better than anything we could come up with, we're going to be more inclined to want to just, we wish we could just take their work and do it, right? And make it our own. How easy would that be, right? There are a multitude of reasons why that's a very bad idea. The first is, of course, that it's extremely disrespectful to the person who birthed that work, who spent their lifetime cultivating that wisdom, who spent their many, many hours studying whatever they studied and contemplating and dreaming up whatever it is that they've created and that they're offering. So it's a real violation of that person's boundaries, of that person's, there's a word for it. You know what I'm saying? It's like this is their professional property, really. So just like you wouldn't walk up to a person and, or when they're not looking, take a piece of their jewelry or, take one of their books and run off with it. we're talking stealing here. Okay. So when you do that, so I heard somebody in the marketplace use the word counterfeit uh, with regard to this. And I thought that was very powerful, meaning that when you completely lift somebody else's work and make it your own, it doesn't have your energy in it. It's counterfeit in that, in addition to it being disrespectful to that person, it doesn't have your vibes in it. It doesn't have your heart and soul in it. It doesn't have right, exactly. Thank you, Leslie. Intellectual. That's what I was looking for. Intellectual property. Exactly. It's somebody else's intellectual property, and just like you wouldn't take somebody else's property in any other way, I'm sure it's the same thing. You're thinking, of course, I wouldn't go steal somebody else's, bicycle or their whatever. You wouldn't. This is the same thing. We don't always realize it, right? And so. But this other dimension I'm sharing is really important, where it's like it's not your energy. Someone else created it, and so you try to make it your own. It's like square peg in round hole. So sometimes, there are mentors whose business is based on done-for-you type templates and done-for-you processes, where they're willing to, sell you a template that just tells you exactly what to do, and it's their way of doing things that's helped them create great success. That's different, of course. They're completely giving you permission. By the same token, I can tell you my personal experience with the done-for-you world has been very awkward, and I literally, even when I was given complete permission and license to use a mentor's work that I paid for, I couldn't do it. It just wasn't, because it wasn't my energy. It wasn't my personality. It wasn't my language. It wasn't the way I express and do things. And so it was really awkward. I had to make it my own. So that what I'm encouraging here, so I've spent a lot of time here sort of telling you what not to do, in my opinion. What I think works is using just, when I go to do a painting, as I said, I do artwork. When I go to do a painting, one of the first things I do, not always, but often, is I look at other artwork that inspires me. I look at other people's color palettes. How did they put color together? I look at how they created certain images that I am very drawn to. I don't want to paint their painting. I want to paint my painting, but I look at their work for inspiration, and then I go and I do my own work based on something some piece of what I saw in their painting. Again, it could be a particular way that they create branches, or a particular combination of colors, or the way that they handled the light in a particular area. I create something completely different, but I was inspired by what I saw there, so it got me going. And Leslie saying, thank you for talking about this. It's something you've wondered about, that whole done-for-you world. Yeah, it is a super interesting topic. I'll come back to that in a moment. Yeah. So I'm saying the same thing. If you're an entrepreneur that's exposed to a lot of great work, a lot of brilliance in the marketplace, or even other people's books, etc., please say hi if you're here. I see there are other people joining us. I'd love to know who's with me live. Just, give me a thumbs up if you're here. You don't have to say anything if you're not in the mood, but I'd love to know who's with me. And feel free to ask questions and post comments while I'm sharing here. So, again, same thing goes for all this genius that we're all exposed to. Nobody is really I've learned, we think everybody else is reinventing the wheel except us, right? Nobody's reinventing the wheel. Some of the most brilliant work that I've seen, and that I thought, wow, this person birthed something amazing. You wonder, gosh, do I have something that brilliant inside of me? And then a few years later, I saw that wasn't that person's work. That was somebody, I bumped into like the original author's work, and I realized, oh my gosh, this person took that work from somebody else. It's like this is going on everywhere. So for better and worse. And the better is where you adapt something that inspired you, that spoke deeply to you, that moved you. You adapt it to your journey, your path, your energy, your ideas. You use it as inspiration, as a springboard for your brilliance, for your best work. But you don't just lift someone else's work, not digging deep into yourself, not doing your own work. So, and I'll say, and then if there are pieces of someone else's work that you actually want to use. Let's say you want to use a particular quote, or you want to use a piece of writing, or you want to describe, maybe they came up with a fantastic activity that helps people have a breakthrough on a particular topic. You can give them credit. You can, if you're going to just take an activity. There was another coach who did some work on fear that I just loved, and once I used one of their processes to help people kind of understand fear, and I just simply tell them, I just tell everyone that I'm working with that I learned this from so and so. Okay, I learned this from so and so. It's that simple. So that's another way to handle it. I'm hoping that this makes sense. Leslie's talking here about wondering about the done-for-you world of content. Yeah, so there are a lot of coaches that have really become very successful by providing done-for-you content. And there's nothing obviously wrong with it. It's their content, and they're giving the people that purchase it total license and permission to use it to grow their business. This works, again, when I first started my business, I was in a group, a high-level group, mastermind with somebody who does this very well. It worked I was with a lot of other women, and that worked really well for a lot of those women. Some of them became quite successful and made a lot of money using the done-for-you content that was given to them. It was, again, as I said, for me personally, I'm a creative, and so I have a great need to create my own work and make my work my own. So it was awkward for me. I thought, well, this is easy. Why am I making it so hard? She's giving this to me. Why don't I just try it instead of working myself so hard to create everything over again? And I would try to do this person's work, and it was like trying to speak, a different language. It wasn't mine, so it didn't work for me. So, but this particular individual gave a lot of license to make her work our own, and so I was able to do that in a number of instances and use bits and pieces of her work as a springboard for the conversation that I wanted to have with my clients, and the conversation that had a different kind of meaning and significance for me. So this is a very personal, that component, that whole done for you question is a very personal, question that has to be answered by each individual. I'm going to move on to, this is a huge topic, and I'm going to move on to another, one of the 3 keys I promised today, so that we can just keep moving here. So, another boundary that I've learned through my own experience, really had to learn, that I did not have initially as a newer coach, that I have found so powerful that, again, many may not kind of be thinking about, but once I kind of got this one under my belt, this is a real key to success. And that is when you are creating offers and delivering offers to your community. Particularly, this can relate to one-on-one offers, but it relates especially strongly to group offers. And this is where, if you are creating a particular workshop or a retreat or a course, it's really important that when you identify the goals of that offer and the results that you're promising to help people achieve, that you stick to them. It's another type of business boundary. What I'm talking about here is that, as somebody myself who works very holistically and, really sees how all things are interconnected, and if you're one of those people, and I know that everybody that is with me right at this moment is an intuitive, creative, sensitive kind of woman, and most of the people in Diamonds in the Darkness are as well, then maybe you resonate with this too. Because we tend to see holistically, we tend to see so much, we make so many connections so naturally. When someone shows up with a particular question or a particular issue, there's this propensity to address everything, and what happens is we start to attract, we start to subtly encourage our clients to bring everything to a particular course or workshop or retreat. And what happens is if we try to address everything rather than the specific intent, when you created that event, the specific, results that you promised, you won't really give them anything. Things get very watered down. You go down too many different trails and you end up at no destination. So the kind of boundaries I'm talking about are where you really keep the focus sharp in whatever in whatever that offer is, and you really hold boundaries. You hold the space for the people that you've called in to work with you in a particular circumstance, so that you help them hold their own focus so that they can drill down deeply into whatever that is, instead of broadly into everything that ever concerned them or worried them or that they ever wanted to deal with in their life. And so again, this is something that it's a fine line sometimes, because so many things do relate to other things. And Mimi who's here is with me right now in my Activate Your Money Flow program. And so I do address, multiple kinds of issues that all relate to money and self-worth and worthiness in the coaching component to that course. But I still hold parameters around what we do, because for that very reason, it's like it has to relate directly or indirectly to our relationship to money and our worth. Otherwise, I'm going to water down the whole experience for people. If I allow people to, if I encourage people to bring, to try to solve too many different problems at once, we might just solve none. So this is a big one. It's a big one. And what you're going to see is when you hold the space for these kind of boundaries in any offer that you bring to the table, you're going to see people get better results. You're going to see your clients get much better results. And that's deeply fulfilling and gratifying for you, and certainly for them. And really, I believe this is our responsibility, as the leaders of our own business and as the leaders of our own communities. So that's the second one. And again, all of these I could speak about probably all day and work with you on all day, but I'm going to move right on to number 3 now for today. And so this one, of course, is something that you probably will recognize as a boundary that many of us have needed to work on, and that is money collection. So this is the simplest one of the 3 that I'm sharing today, and there are like 12 money boundaries that I speak about in other situations, but these are 3 hot ones. And so this is the easy one to just get right to the point with. My strong encouragement is that you collect either a down payment or full payment before you provide services. So that's simple. Money collection. You're not loose and vague and sort of willy-nilly about your money collection. You have policies, you have criteria for working with people. And it makes it super easy to say to a person, well, it's my policy to, collect whatever it is, a down payment, 30%, 50%, whatever it is of our total fee before we begin working together. If they are unable to do that, you don't provide services until they can. This is part of how you treat your business like a business. Most of us in this group, most sensitive, intuitive, creative women, have huge hearts. We want to be very charitable. This is a business boundary. This is not being charitable. This is running your business like a business. And when you do this and you hold someone who wants to work with you accountable to finding that money, to stepping up, where else in the world would somebody be able to purchase something and actually begin receiving it without making a payment? Where else? Do you know someplace where you could just go and, go into a store and walk out with something without paying for it? This is exactly the same thing. I really want to give you that analogy. Hello to everybody who's with me live. Say hi, please. I would love to know who's here. Or give me a thumbs up, just something, so I know who's with me live. Again, so I'm going to just come right back to this. So again, business boundary number 3 is collect is money collection. It's collecting payment prior to delivering the service. And the example I gave for people who just joined us live, is, where could you go and just take something that had a price tag on it without paying for it and have the person go, okay, yeah, just pay me whenever you can. This is the same thing. In a retail environment, certainly the store owner is treating the business like a business, or they wouldn't have one. You'd come the following week and the place would be vacant. That's what's going to happen in your business if you don't begin treating it like a business and have good money boundaries in your business as well. So, questions, comments, anybody? How is this landing for you? You who are with me live. I'm going to wrap in just a moment, so if you want to connect while I'm here live, jump in. Otherwise, I'll be certainly checking the chat throughout the day. You can post a question, post a comment, and for those watching the replay, please let me know how this lands for you. So my question also, before I say goodbye for today, I am wondering how many people watching this would like a half-day workshop on money boundaries, on business boundaries, business/money boundaries. I'd like to put together a half-day workshop if there's enough interest. There are many other business and money boundaries that we could dive deep with, and we could, obviously do more coaching and interactive exploration around in a workshop container on Zoom. So just if you're interested, if it's a yes for you to go deeper with the topic, type yes in the comments. Just type yes in the comments, and I'm just gathering information at this moment. There's no commitment. I'm just trying to sense into how much interest there is in a short workshop at a very low, reasonable price point on this topic. And if there's enough interest, I'd love to put something together for you. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for being here with me live today, and I'll look forward to crossing paths with you real soon. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Bye for now.